Today I speak, and I always make it a point to say this, I speak as a proud Indian. As an Indian, I'm proud of my country, the cultural heritage, the diversity. I'm proud of the values enshrined in our constitution. I'm proud of the people of India, who are largely peaceful. But I'm pained to see incidents of atrocities on religious minorities. And since we are talking about Christians today, on Christians happen in my country. It's painful, Isaac spoke about the CPC. It's painful to see India recommended for CPC. I was having a conversation with some people, and one of the questions that was asked to me by a senior political leader whom I shall leave unnamed, he said that when you speak about atrocities on Christians, it hampers the image of India. My question was very simple. What hampers the image of India? The fact that these incidents happen, or the fact that they are reported? So it's painful to see India recommended for CPC, but I truly hope that these incidents would stop, the targeting would stop, and India would gain its rightful place by upholding the values in the constitution. It's painful actually to see people being targeted on the basis of their religion or their faith anywhere in the world, whether it be US or India. But the Indian situation, Isaac spoke a little bit about that. You have to see, in order to understand what is happening with the religious minorities in India, and in this case, the Christians in India, you have to see what is happening to the country as a whole. It has to be seen in the context of that. As of now, fundamental freedoms are threatened. Freedom of speech, dissent, freedom of dissent, the values enshrined in our constitution, particularly the four main values of justice, equality, freedom, that is liberty, and most importantly, fraternity. These values are being threatened. And as Indians, it is our endeavor to uphold the constitution and to make sure that the founding mothers and founding fathers, the values that they cherished, we put them at the right place. Now, I've been asked to speak about mainly on the report that the Religious Liberty Commission of EFI published on the 23rd of July on the persecution of Christians in India in the first half of 2021. That report was released by the Religious Liberty Commission. It was set up, the Religious Liberty Commission was set up in 1998 to advocate for religious freedoms for everybody, not just Christians. And over the years, we have made attempts that we speak out for everybody and not just Christians. However, we've been documenting incidents of attacks on Christians, opposition of Christians since the year 1998. And since the year 2009, we have been coming up with an annual report. And for some years now, a half-yearly report as well. Now, the half-yearly report, and I'd like to show it to you on the screen, just a glimpse. And after this, I will try and send you the report on the chat box. That's the report. Are you able to see it? I hope you're able to see it. Hate and targeted violence against Christians in India. This is the half-yearly report. This year, we have collected till June 145 incidents. Now, in a nation of 1.2 billion people, 145 incidents would appear like a drop in the bucket. But here's what it is. These incidents are all verified incidents. India is a huge country. A lot of stuff happens. We don't come to know about it. The incidents that are reported to us, we are only able to verify a tiny minority. What we are able to verify, we place in the report. And we've been doing that, I said, since 1998. And every year, the incidents have been in the domain of 100 to 200 incidents. So it's just the tip of an iceberg. But from 2014 onwards, these incidents have been on a uprise. So we have breached the 325 mark. We have breached the 377 mark also. Last year, during the same period, we recorded 130 plus incidents. This year, it was 145 incidents. Now, what kind of incidents are we talking about? We are talking about physical violence. Not a day goes by when we don't hear of some corner in India of people being targeted for their faith, pastors being targeted for their faith. We are talking about church worship disruption. A church service would be going on, a prayer would be going on, and people would just barge in. They would beat up the people present. They take the pastor or whoever the leader of the prayer assembly is, and they take them to the police station and tell them this man was trying to convert everybody over there. It doesn't really matter if the people present over there are already Christians. You just have to make an allegation. And then the process of getting justice is punishment in itself. You know, the process itself can kill you. I'm just coming back from a meeting, a memorial meeting of Father Stan Swami, who was falsely accused of having Maoist links. He was taken from Ranchi to Bombay, where he was not even questioned even for one day. In the 9 months that he was there, this 84-year-old man suffered from Parkinson's. His body declined rapidly, and ultimately he died. So the process became punishment. So people are being arrested left, right, and center on charges of conversion. So the attempt is to make conversion itself a bad word, even though the Constitution of India allows it. So the church does not recognize forcible conversions or fraudulent conversions. That's an oxymoron itself, you know. But the attempt is being made through propaganda to demonize the word conversion itself. So physical violence happens aplenty, church worship disruptions happen aplenty. You know, when persecution started systematically during the late 1990s, it was difficult to, it became difficult to preach outside your church. So Christians were told, now you can sit inside your church and do whatever you want. But soon attacks started happening on churches. And now attacks have started happening in families. A couple of years ago, this was not this year or even the year before that, I think it was 3 years before. Evening 10 o'clock, a Christian mother is putting her babies to bed and praying with them just before putting them to bed. Suddenly the police comes in asking for her husband. Husband is a pastor, he's not at home. And the police tells the children and the mother, what you're doing over here is anti-national. Last year, a college-going party, a send-off party is happening, you know, and they are celebrating the educational accomplishments of a girl who was the first one from her family to go to college. And they are organizing a send-off party for her. The police comes in, and all of a sudden, take everybody to the police station, and the charges are that you are engaging in religious conversions. So this will kind of give you an accurate description of what is happening. Now, there's a lot of social boycott happening. So physical violence, church worship disruptions, and social boycott. This is particularly happening in tribal areas where the RSS, which is the mother ideologue of the BJP, the main ideologue, advocating for Hindu nationalism, the RSS is hyperactive in tribal areas and trying to fracture the tribal society between Christian tribals and non-Christian tribals. Christians have been tribals for over 200 years and no problems existed. But now you have instances of social boycott. Christians being told you will not be able to take water out of the village well. Christians being told that you are not allowed to take food from the ration shops. Christian being told, if you don't deny your faith, there is no place for you inside the village. In fact, as I speak to you right now, there are about 25 families in Odisha living in jungles because they've been chased out of their villages. And then you have structural persecution. There is the physical side of it, and then there is the structural side of it, where laws are being used to stifle the community. So Freedom of Religion Acts, ironically, they are called that. We popularly know them as anti-conversion laws. Anti-conversion laws are being used against Christians in a major way in the 8 states where they are currently enforced. The proposal is to have a national anti-conversion law implemented. That would not be so easy. But the irony is, in states where there is no anti-conversion law present, it is deemed to be present, and Christians are being targeted. All you need to do is very simple. Just put an allegation, he or she tried to convert me, and then they'll be grappling for the rest of their life, trying to prove themselves innocent in the process, and the process becomes punishment. Now, I'd like to say just one last thing, and then I'll stop. But the biggest structural discrimination has happened against the Christian Dalits and the Muslim Dalits. That is huge. That is huge. When India got independence, our founding mothers and fathers gave certain privileges and rights to Dalits, to people who in India we call the scheduled caste people, who have been oppressed for centuries together. They got some affirmative actions as reservations in jobs, educational facilities, political seats, so on and so forth. But the first presidential order in 1950 took that away from everybody except Hindu Dalits. Over a period of time, the Sikh Dalits and the Buddhist Dalits got those rights, but the Muslim Dalits and Christian Dalits are still don't have that right. A case has been going on in the Supreme Court now for over 15 years, and the governments have not responded to anything. This is a denial of freedom of faith, bigger than China, bigger than anywhere in the world. So this is how laws are being used. The Juvenile Justice Act is being used in a way that is discriminatory against, and there are many instances in which it has been used against Christian orphanages. One such case is going on right now. I don't have the time to tell you. I am hopeful that the global community would take notice of this and would speak up. Religious minorities are being targeted in India. That's a fact. It's a sad fact, but it's a fact. Our Muslim brothers and sisters face the brunt much more than we do, but we do face it too. And I hope the global community will start talking about it. I want to end with a note of hope. This pandemic has been very cruel, but in the pandemic, at least we saw people stepping up for each other. I hope that we have learned our lesson from the pandemic.